Hi, I'm David, and you're watching Hella Artsy. My journey through creative mediums, I guess, starts from my childhood and being exposed to a lot of different things, because I have a lot of different interests. And when I was growing up, my dad was always encouraging my brother and I to explore electronics. He bought us our first computers back when first computers were coming out. I'm talking about like VIC-20s, Commodore 64s, which definitely dates me. And at the same time, my mom recognized I had some other type of creativity inside of me, so she would enroll me in drawing classes, art classes, which I would go to, and then my attention would often just drift to other things. And so I was just more or less, I guess, on this in front of like a buffet line, where I had all these different things that I could explore and was being encouraged to explore. I studied, writing as journalism, and so it was creative writing, and then going back to school for grad school was landscape architecture, a design discipline for shaping the built environment, the environment that we live in. And if I think about like a common theme with all this stuff, I almost feel like my life has been this creative nomad that has kind of danced around and looking at getting a taste for things, getting a taste of this, that, and the other thing, and exploring. So maybe I think it's poetic to think about if there's another lifetime to come. Maybe this lifetime is just for me to explore and get a taste of a lot of different things, and perhaps in another lifetime I'll take to heart one of these things and go really, really deep. So I think I'm on that T, and so we're looking at the other part of the T is that vertical, to go really deep on something. But I think I'm at the surface level for a lot of things, but there's a few things I can go deeper on, and but there's just not enough time in this lifetime. So I'm hoping for another lifetime to do it. Yeah, when working in different mediums, I think the thing that ties it together for me is what is already there. That might not make sense. It sounds pretty abstract. Let's look at it in landscape architecture and shaping the environment. There's always going to be something there that you can base your design off of, whether it's a backyard or it's a renewing a city park, a block. There's always going to be something there that exists. And I think the challenge for me is, and the thing that helps bind it together, is what is the relationship to what I'm introducing to this space and with what is already there. I think when I was in grad school learning about landscape architecture, we were warned against just taking whatever it is that you're creating and just plopping it down into space, because that often just looks like that. It looks like you're just plop something down, and it should relate to the space somehow. Look at coding, for example. I'm also a computer programmer, and I've done that professionally. And almost always you go into your professional life or a project with something that you have some legacy code that you have to work with. And it's our job as, there is creativity in programming. It's not as analytical as some might think it is, but you have to work with what is there within those parameters, which I think helps stimulate even deeper creativity than if you're just given a blank slate. So there's programming, there's the three-dimensional world, and then in music, the thing that the anchor points are like what is there, working with what is there is the commonality. And sometimes in music there's something there. It depends on what you're doing. Depends on what type of, if you're working off a sample, a riff, something that's given to you, maybe that's how it would work very well. If you're collaborating with somebody, which is wonderful you can do these days, is just, send a recording to somebody and then just kind of riff off that. I really like that. It's sort of like that exquisite corpse, but hopefully it doesn't look like a corpse in the end. So it looks like something really interesting that comes out of it, and just that improvisational nature to it. Anyway, so how do we shift between different mediums? Is there a different mindset? For me, I haven't perceived a specific different mindset that changes between working with one thing or the next thing. Actually, I think it's more or less a constant for me, is a curiosity is a constant that is there. And also constant that I find is each medium has a problem, like a problem context, especially thinking about the whole design thinking about solving a problem. The problem isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's something that we're trying to answer the question of, like, how might I do X, and there can be many ways to do it. The one ritual that has been very productive for me is meditating, and I started being serious about meditation about a year ago. And so it is a part of my day. Every day I'll wake up, there's an app I use, and I'll do a 10-minute meditation followed by some sort of analysis or some reflection piece by different authors in this app. And then in the afternoons I'll do a 15-minute meditation right here in this room. And it's not so much about trying to unlock anything or do anything, it's just more about just being here, being observant, listening to what can be heard, and seeing what can be seen. Even if your eyes are closed, there's still something that you're seeing. I think that is probably very critical. It's not probably, that is very critical in a creative process, is to be here now and see what is. And I guess that touches on that theme I was just talking about, is working what is there, building upon what is there, rather than trying to assert yourself, is more of a collaboration with whatever's there. Encouraging other creatives to branch out is as simple as just doing it, is taking action and kind of silencing that voice, that critic, that inner critic that might be telling you, no, you can't do this. I'm a musician, so I can't do visual arts, or I can't do three-dimensional spaces like a backyard or park or something like that. That voice in your head is a really interesting thing to be aware of. And I think through meditation, my own practice, I've recognized there is that voice in your head, and it's often very critical. It's often like the worst person that you could ever know is following you around, being critical about everything that you were doing or trying to do. I think the key to being more creative and branching out is to, first acknowledge that voice, and then to challenge that voice and ask it, like, is that true? And why are you telling me this? What benefit can I possibly have by listening to this very critical and negative voice? And then give it its attention that it needs. It's basically, I can say this: it will die the moment you give it its attention, your attention, and it'll dissipate, and it'll free you into saying, like, I'm challenging this voice, and the voice didn't hold much water, so I'm going to go ahead and do whatever it is that I feel like doing. Because it's oftentimes, even if you pick something new up, you're a musician, you want to do artwork, there's not much bad can happen from giving it a try. Silencing that voice and just doing it. I think it probably is it's definitely part of my journey, and as far as this exploration into the unknown, because a lot of this stuff is new to me. I didn't grow up with accomplished artists or musicians. I came from a very working class family, and was encouraged for sure, but then it was very much like, okay, here's the things, you guys figure it out. And so I think that shaped my worldview back when I was very young. It's coming up actually 30 years ago that I first traveled abroad, and that was unknown to me. It's sort of like taking on a new medium, for example, international travel. And I think that was one of the scariest things I've ever done, but one of the most rewarding things I've ever done is just that pushing myself into the unknown. And I think that is a common theme that I've had bouncing around these different things. Like I said, it's kind of like being in front of a buffet line and having all these interesting foods that I could pick and choose from, and that's been where I'm at and what I like to do. Would I want to do one single thing? No. I love to figure out whatever the next thing is, whatever interesting thing comes my way, and I think the whole worldview, the ethos of just getting out there and enjoying the different cultures and the different countries and places I've been, I've always come back from those experiences inspired to do something different, which I hope I have more opportunities to do. Definitely, there's get out of your comfort zone is one thing for sure, and I can get into that. And prior to that, it's like there's either like there's action you can take, or then there's the opposite of that. It's just being still, like the whole meditation thing, and just giving. I think one of the misconceptions about meditation is like you're not doing anything. I mean, you aren't doing anything, but there's things being done, and it's just being aware of what's being done. And I think that can be really freeing to a lot of creative types. But then like the action part of it, of getting outside of your comfort zone, and it doesn't even necessarily mean doing something else that's creative. It could just be something that's just wildly different that you've never done. Maybe you've embracing those fears. Maybe you have a fear of public speaking, so go into a Toastmasters meeting and try that out. Maybe you really want to shake things up, and this is one thing that I always had an opportunity to do. Talk about going down to Peru and participating in ayahuasca ceremonies, which for me, I had a lot of personal traumas that I needed to deal with, and sitting with the plant medicine ayahuasca was a way for me to get more in touch with myself, and to find out what the truth and the lies that I was telling myself, or that I came to understand about my whole life experience. Getting that up and just out, and it's really freeing, because so many people just leave it stuck. They don't even realize it's down there. That's been one of the things. If you're out, have the opportunity to do something like that or something similar, just really shake things up, because that's gonna put you in a direction you never thought you'd even be in. Yeah, if you wanted to find out more about me, it's I'm a bit of an enigma. I don't have a lot of social presence. I'm doing these really strange videos under the name Bongo Gravy, which is Instagram, which is completely different from what I do. I'm putting together some recordings. I have a finished recording. I'd like to have a four songs EP coming out at some point, and I'm trying to figure out a way to distribute that, because none of this stuff comes intuitive to me. But then that's my challenge, is to get outside my comfort zone and figure this stuff out. I don't really have anything, so I find myself more of in a support role. So I support Laura Warwick, which you'll probably hear from pretty soon. So I don't have this. I should, right? But then I don't. I'm just like I'm just something that's in the background.
Yeah. All right, can you hit stop on that?